I think it's great. Everyone should have freedom of opportunity. And so if a woman wants to rise, I think it's great that she does do that. But then should she not be able to accept a guy who maybe isn't on her level? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, I only want to choose a guy who's above me, but at the same time, I want the freedom to go as high as I can. And you choose to do so. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not saying that if you go really high, you can't choose another guy on your level or above.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm asking, don't you
Are
think...
you just talking about financial though? Or you're just talking about that kind of from a career aspect?
Well, when you say that women find that they have to date down, what are you referring to?
Not necessarily financial. Like, I'm not talking in the sense of, you know, he's earning 50 and she's earning 60. What I more mean is like the essence of that kind of spirit of drive and that ambition, because I personally, what I find really attractive is a man who I can see can provide and protect. And that is two things, which is like, has he got his kind of finances in order? It might be that he has less than me, but does he have that kind of, you know, mindset? And also protect, it's like from a health perspective. So for me, it's not necessarily about the money, it's about the attitude. And it's about like, can this man lead? Like, could he lead the family? Can he be the head of the household?
Can a woman submit to a man's leadership who she feels she's doing better than?
I think that's very difficult. I think in order for a woman to love a man, she has to respect him. And I think it's hard if you feel, and also women, we are so like tempted to mother a man. So if it's a man that doesn't seem to have all his stuff together, we'll go into mother mode and that nurture mode. And then that, I think, just completely distorts the dynamic.
It's interesting about this. See, I don't think it's a bad thing to be nurturing in that sense, because, you know, if you say you want a man who provides and protects you, like who was the person that did that for you growing up?
My parents.
Right, probably your father.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what you look for in a husband. Does that mean he's fathering you?
No, but I think there's a difference between nurturing and encouraging. Like, I could take a man and like mother him, so I'm kind of like, and then that becomes like I'm maybe telling him what to do, I'm suggesting all these things, or I could encourage him and lift him up, and like that helps him to get his purpose and that helps him to get himself together. So it is a bit of chicken and egg. I do see that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think telling him what to do, I think, because when you tell someone what to do, you come from a place of authority.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to respect someone who you feel you have. It's hard to respect them as a leader, authority figure, if you feel you have authority over them.
Yeah.
But I think encouragement, I think that's a beautiful quality to have.
Oh,
as
100%. Yeah.
Do you know
and
what I
I
mean?
think you can tell sometimes when there's a really successful man, I'm like, who's the woman behind that? Because I think there is like a lot of just cheerleading and stuff in the background.
I hear that. I don't think there isn't, but I would make the argument, if a man can't be successful without a woman, then like if a quote unquote high value man can't be high value without a woman, then he's not really a high value man.
So I want to ask you what a high value man is.
Okay.
Like, how would you define that?
I would say it is a man, I think I'd see it in two folds. There's the caliber and the quality, right? So there's the caliber of a man, and then there's the quality of a man. So I think when we refer to high value, we're talking about the caliber, not necessarily the quality. Because you can have a guy who's a very high caliber, but he's very low quality because he doesn't have principles, doesn't have morals, etc. So when it comes to what is high value, I would say a man who has a level of, he obviously is financially secure, has a level of financial abundance. He has a strong purpose and he has a mission and a vision for his future, has a mission. And I would say, I would attach quality to high value-ness. I mean, I'm biased in this sense. A man of integrity, a man who has a very good reputation, a man who has a good network. You know, they say your net worth is your network. And ultimately, he's a man that other men want to be and a man that other women want to be with.
And what is the incentive of that man? Like, what has driven him to get to that point, that level?
Well, respect is very big for men. And a lot of small handful of men who have become very powerful in history is because they wanted respect by everyone. And a lot of the time, gaining respect is gaining power and influence. So I think part of it is to be respected by other men. But also a big part is to be in a position where he has a level of sexual abundance that he can choose the woman or women that he wants.
What do you mean by sexual abundance?
As in, he has women who are sexually available to him.
Okay.
Because most men don't have that, is the truth.
Interesting.
Yeah, most men struggle. In fact, majority of men do struggle. Especially nowadays, because we have access to everyone. Like you can message Michael B. Jordan right now.
I could. I've interviewed Michael B. Jordan.
They even better.
But only on the phone.
Only on the phone. Still though.
Not in person, so you know.
Next time. But there's so much access,
Yeah.
the competition for men, as in to get women, it's not on a local level, it's on a global level now. Before he would only be competing with the men in his village.
Your locals, yeah.
Right? But now the girl from Norfolk can match and talk with the hotshot lawyer from London, the producer from Paris, the actor from LA. And so the guy in her class who's doing his humble engineer degree, which is a great degree, by the way.
We need engineers.
Right? But he's not further ahead yet. He doesn't seem like that much of an attractive catch compared to these men who are older and who already have it.
But you know what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing you say about this high value man is that he is very active. He's an active agent in his life. He's moving forward. He's not being passive. He's not wasting all this time and money on whatever games, drinking all the time. Like, because this is where I feel frustrated, is where I just think that there is actually it's interesting. So going back to the toxic masculinity.
Yes.
I got a little bit obsessed with the concept of dropping the hanky.
Oh,
so
yes.
I was like, how can a woman drop the hanky in modern day? Because like, it just doesn't make sense to me how women are not being asked out on dates. Like there are so many beautiful women, like, come on, like just shoot your shot. But a lot of the things that the guys were telling me, and these were guys from the ages of like 19 to 40.
Yes.
Was like, no, we don't want to intimidate a woman. If we see them on the street, like we'll cross the road so that they feel safe.
I do that.
And I was like, what? And we don't want to come across creepy.
Very
so
true.
I do see that obviously culture has really like removed this from the man, this kind of like the art of the chase. But yeah, and then that I think in effect is making like more men passive.
I think, what it is, a lot of this has to do with, of course, feminism, but the hashtag #MeToo movement.
Yes.
The level of awareness on sexual harassment, which is a good thing. The awareness needed to be there.
Yeah.
But there has been, what I think many men would say, there's been such a level of overcorrection, so much to the point that even a man just approaching you on the street is harassment. And the issue, what a lot of men see or have seen, is you can have two guys do the exact same approach. One's harassing her and one is received well. And the only difference is that she sees one as being attractive.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but that's not really fair.
It's not fair. But for a lot of good men, they're like, okay, well, the only way I'm going to know if you find me attractive is if I approach you. But if I get it wrong and you don't, that's a harassment case. So for a lot of men, it's like, it's not worth
complex.
It's not worth the risk. And this is why, and this is part of the work I do with women, there are ways to drop the handkerchief. Essentially, it's about sending choosing signals. So you give him the permission to approach you.
I just don't want to wave at a stranger. I'm sorry, Kit. I saw that.
Well, if you
like, here's 3-second eye contact I can do, but like waving is. Imagine if you don't wave back.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, it's funny because you say about dropping the handkerchief, you're acting like it's the man choosing you, but it's you choosing him. You drop the handkerchief for the man that you want.
It's me to show that I'm receptive and open to being approached.
Only to the one that you choose, though, because you're not dropping the handkerchief for every guy, are you?
No.
Right. So you're actually choosing him, but what you're doing, and this is about the feminine, you're inviting him to pursue you.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So I know you say like smiling, eye contact, waving, whatever, but you're asking me why women aren't getting approached, and I'm telling you why. And I'm saying this is how you can get approached still as a woman in your feminine, because a good masculine man who sees those signals, he'll come approach you. But if you don't send those signals, the risk isn't worth it for him.
I think really leaning into like my feminine is something that I'm trying to do a lot. And I guess a question for you is like, what can I do as a woman in my feminine energy to really help get masculine energy out of men?
I think just being on your feminine will invite that side out of him. So for example, giving him the space, if you want this kind of man, if you're on a date, giving him the space to lead and make the decision, or, allowing him to make the plan and giving him the space to do so instead of trying to make the plan for him. Even if your plan is better, even if your way is more efficient, you allowing the space for him to lead is part of your vetting process. Is this the kind of man that I want to lead in my life? Does that make sense?
100%. And it's something I struggle with because I think I'm naturally quite extroverted maybe, or just like I take initiative. So if I go to a restaurant and you know, nothing's really happening, like I really want to be like, can we get a table, or can we get the bill or something? And it takes me physically like holding my hands together to be like, I'm just going to sit and let this man lead.
Yeah. Or there's another way, encouragement. So you could say, instead of going like, okay, why don't you get a table? You'd be like, I really love it when a man does this.
Okay.
And especially if a guy's on a date with you, because the thing is, guys are constantly, when they're on a date with a woman he barely knows, he's like, does she like me? How far can I go? So what does she like?
Yeah.
When you say, I love it when a man does this, or I love it when you do this, he's like, okay, cool. I'm going to put this in this arsenal because I know she likes this.
Yes.
So if you say, I love it when a man makes a plan and a guy likes you, he's going to make a plan.
When a man, so you say it like that, like when a man, not like, I don't know, I just feel like that sounds a bit presumptuous.
Oh, what, that you've been with many men?
Yeah, like I like it when men do this. Like it just...
But I think that's where you say a man. You don't say men.
A man.
I love it when men do this.
I love it when men do this.
Sounds quite presumptuous.
I think it's interesting. It's all about perception, because I would have thought that could come across a bit berating. Like imagine like you're at a busy bar or something and like they can't get a drink, right? And like you're just being very receptive and very feminine and not going to say anything. And you're like, I just love it when a man is able to get a drink at a busy bar. Like that's just is that not going to make him feel...
I mean, there's a way to do it, but
this way.
No, because you're not telling him what to do.
Okay.
Men have an issue when you're trying, especially if it's a man in his masculine, he has an issue when you're trying to tell him what to do. Because when you tell him what to do, you come from a place of authority. And he's like, you don't tell me what to do. You can ask me and I will say yes or no.
Yeah.
But you don't tell me what to do because you don't have authority over me. But that doesn't mean that you can't guide him to do what you want him to do. And part of the feminine is that dance, right? So it's not, oh, I need you to do this. It's, babe, it makes me feel really good when you do this for me because it makes me think you care about me.
So I've heard that it's really good for women as women to say about how you guys make us feel, to use those words.
When you say feel,
hey,
it's very difficult for us to argue that.
Yeah, because for example, I think I heard this scenario where it's like, okay, the guy says like, can we meet in the middle? And you as a woman don't want to. And instead of being like, oh, why can't you just come to me? Like, blah, 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 you say like, oh, I'm just feeling really tired and I would really appreciate if you could come to me.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you see the difference?
I do.
Because she's still getting him to do something. And especially the keyword, appreciate. Men want to serve women.
Yes.
But it's very important for us that there's a level of gratitude because that's part of the respect that you show for the service we provide.
Absolutely. I think that's something that like the modern world, because I think a few things that have probably been said, even just his point, might have gotten a few people's backs up. But when you talk about leadership or authority, when you say it in that kind of servant leadership type of way, that's so attractive and that's so sexy. And why wouldn't you want that as a woman? But obviously, like, I think maybe when you use the word authority, even me, I was like, my back's up a bit. But then I'm like, no, I need to wind that back.
Well, here's the thing. And I understand it because I think there can be, especially when we use the term like submit to his leadership, etc.
Yeah.
I understand because immediately I think a lot of people, and especially a lot of women, go worst case scenario. Like, oh, he's tyrannical and he's controlling me and I can't do anything. And it's about choosing the right person. It's about choosing the right kind of man, because the right kind of leader, if you notice, I mean, I guess you weren't unless you were in the army, but in a lot of, when they would hunt back in the day, the leader would eat last from the kill. He would eat last because the captain serves the team. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they put their life on the line for their team. Yeah.
So when you choose a man for quote unquote leadership, it's about choosing the right leader. That's what determines whether it's going to be a great captain of a great ship and you're going to fly into the sunset, or whether it's going to be tyrannical.
Absolutely. There's a saying that says like you should choose a man who is authoritative, not an authoritarian. And I think actually like that line in between is thin, and you have to really be able to see that.
100%. I agree. And I think as well, the whole thing of authority is that if you want a man to be responsible for you, with responsibility comes a level of authority. So for example, if we were out and I'm responsible for making sure that we get home safe, I'm responsible for making sure you get home safe. If we're walking, and let's say we're walking from the station or something, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna walk along this lit path, right, the street, and you're like, oh no, let's cut through the park where it's dark and stuff, but it's a really good shortcut.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I know you want to do that, but we're not going to do that because I think this is the safest way for us to get home. And if I'm responsible for your safety, there's a level of authority with that. Now, if you're like, but I really want to take this path, I'm like, okay, cool. You can take this path, but I'm not responsible for your safety anymore.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
You can't ask for responsibility without authority, because responsibility without authority is slavery, right? Like,
good point.
You are responsible for picking the cotton, but you have no say in how, when, or where you do it. I dictate exactly how you do it, but you have the responsibility for it. That's slavery.
Yeah, I mean, but I do see that women, we have a tendency for control and for kind of this like self-reliance, or even like the directions you're talking about. Obviously, I wouldn't be like, can we just go walk through this dark, sketchy park? But I have been in a scenario where a guy's been like, okay, I'm going to take this place, and I will have already like recce'd it and seen like where the place is, and then I can see he's taking me exactly the wrong direction, and I don't know at what point to kind of be like, babe, it's actually this way. So sometimes I wait, I'll like wait it out, and then I'm like, oh, because I don't want to be that person who's like, actually it was 3 roads like that way.
Do you know what's really funny? I'm going to tell you this funny story, because my mum, she is the epitome of super career woman, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Very successful in her field, etc., etc. Very strong, independent woman. There was one time, she loves plants and loves flowers. It was her birthday. It was 2 years ago. I wanted to surprise her and take her to Kew Gardens because she loves it.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, usually, obviously, growing up, you know, if we were going somewhere, obviously, you know, I was a child, she'd like decide where we're going and all of this stuff.
Of course.
Right? But I was like, oh no, Mom, I'm going to pick you up and we're going to drive somewhere. And I'm going to just take you out for your birthday, right? She's like, okay. And I told her we were going somewhere for lunch, not Kew Gardens, because I wanted it to be a surprise.
Yeah. Nice.
So I picked her up. We were driving, and she was like, "No, this isn't the way." I was like, "Relax, it's okay. I know where I'm going."
And also, yeah, where is the way? The way to where?
Right. And she's like, "No, take the M4. This is much quicker to go this way. I don't know why." I'm like, "Relax. Like, I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing." Right. I think it's like my Nigerian hustle. So like, you know, my father was a very masculine kind of leader guy. So that's my upbringing. So I'm kind of like, relax. Like, I'm taking you out, whatever. Yeah. And it got to the point that I just had to say, Mum, we're actually not going here. We're going to Kew Gardens, and I wanted to surprise you. But you couldn't just relax and just let me take frame of the situation.
She couldn't receive the gift.
Right.
Yeah. Do
you see what I'm saying?
Yes. And I've been there. I've been your mum before. Do
you see what I'm saying?
In that scenario, yeah.
And in that's a perfect example of where it's about letting go. And it's like, okay, if you're given the responsibility, there is an element of risk that comes with that trust. You're absolutely right. Because maybe he might get it wrong. Yeah. But no one's going to get it right all the time.
He might not take the best route.
He might not make the best decision. He might make you late for the whatever. That's fine. But this is how people learn. Do you know what I mean? And people, I think people become leaders, or they become good leaders through experience, through learning, etc. So maybe he didn't get it perfectly right this time. But if he's the good kind of man that you want, he'll learn from that and be like, okay, next time we're going to do this.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.